You're known for your thoughts on forgiveness. I mean, not more so than anything else, but very much so.
Yes.
You taught Oprah lessons about forgiveness. You made me start thinking about forgiveness in a different way. When you hear stuff that happened, a week ago in Paris, I'm sure a lot of people look to you. What are your first thoughts when it comes to managing forgiveness in this situation, especially a few days afterwards?
Forgiveness is everything, but you do have to name what it is you're forgiving. So the first job is for us to look from a spiritual perspective, is look at yourself. And that's why I'm talking so much about national atonement, how the United States and Britain and others need to take a deep look at how our own foreign policy has betrayed the best values of our people. The quote that you read there before. There was an article by David Stockman, who is no liberal. David Stockman was Ronald Reagan's finance guy. So this is no raving lefty. But he wrote a scathing article that is very, very important reading, I think, for everybody, that was in the Huffington Post a couple of days ago, around November 17th, I think, where he talks about after the Berlin Wall came down, we could have disbanded NATO at that point. As Britain and the United States, we all started sending ships to the Persian Gulf. I mean, there are so many things for us to look at. And this is not a blame America or blame England sentiment. This is a grown-up taking responsibility. So the first issue of forgiveness is forgiving ourselves. But we can't forgive ourselves until first we name. In the Course in Miracles, it says you can't bring the light to the darkness. You have to bring the darkness to light. So the first issue of forgiveness is praying for forgiveness for our own mistakes and for our own casual acquiescence to violence perpetrated, particularly against a country who had not attacked us. I think we need to humbly pray for forgiveness. Abraham Lincoln said, nations have to confess their sins and pray for forgiveness, just like individuals do, and I agree with that passionately. Secondly, in terms of forgiveness regarding someone like terrorists and ISIL.
Yeah, people that were in Paris that day that saw things happen.
Well, I think some of the most eloquent and profound words that have been said and written on this issue have come from victims' families and victims themselves, that we will refuse to hate. Forgiveness is not, you're a jerk, you did something terrible, but I'm spiritual, so I forgive you. Forgiveness is simply the recognition that beyond this veil of illusion, beyond the destructible lies the indestructible. Fear is merely the absence of love. You turn on love, fear is gone. The same way when you turn on light, darkness is gone. Forgiveness means standing in conviction that love will have the final say here. And that the love, I don't believe that people who are terrorists were born to be terrorists. One of the problems that we have in the world today is how many young children are being taught to hate. Little children in many parts of the world, in some countries that your country and mine do a lot of business with every day. These children are being taught to hate. So children are not born this way. And then other situations, such as ones I've mentioned, have, I think, bred a lot of fear and anger in people. For us to know that all people are good, but that insanity exists, and damaged people damage people, and people can go insane, and people who are violently, criminally insane exist within the context of an entire human race that is insane. That is what Gandhi said, that the problem with the world is humanity is not in its right mind. We have not predicated our domestic and international policies on justice and brotherhood and love. And when you don't fill a room with light, darkness sets in. So forgiveness means taking responsibility for where we have not been channels of light, knowing that those who are instruments of evil, and I do believe it is naive to underestimate the level of evil that we're talking about here. I do. I think that in our minds, they need to be spiritually quarantined. It's like you think of someone who is someone who would cut off your head if he had a chance. And you surround him in your visualization and in your meditation with a golden egg, and you see the eggshell is made of a kind of titanium, and the malevolence in the mind of that person can't get past the titanium to turn into worldly manifestation. But then on the inside of the eggshell, you have to see a golden light pouring at them and healing them and welcoming them back into that brotherhood of man. That's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is knowing that there are other levels here than just what the mortal eye can see. And in that place, love still reigns. But we need to stand on the ground of that love. So real forgiveness doesn't make you a doormat, and it doesn't lower your IQ, and it doesn't make you a fuzzy thinker. It doesn't make you incapable of military action. If what your heart then tells you is that military action is correct. But you would do so with a very sober mind, rather than the adrenaline of war fever.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.